and now we'll turn over. We want to go into a little more detail and get a bit more of a country and partner perspective. So I'll hand over to Ms. Rika Gail from the Ministry of Interior of Hungary. So if we could have her slides up, that would be great. And I think Hungary is a really nice example of, within landlocked country, within the Danube basin, lots of basin-wide bilateral arrangements with their neighbors, and so coordination is really key. So looking forward to hearing from this experience. So Ms. Gail, over to you, please.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you well.
Fine. So good morning again, and thank you for having me in this panel and for the opportunity to share with you the Hungarian experiences related to reporting SDG 652. There has been much said already, but I hope there will be still something new. So I would like to start, next slide please. I would like to start with a short overview of Hungary's location. As it was said, it is a landlocked country in East and Central Europe. And you can see the surrounding mountains to the east and to the north, the Carpathians, and to the west, the Alps. So Hungary is situated in the bottom of a basin. Most of our surface waters are coming from abroad. And also the recharge areas for many of our experts are abroad. What you also can see that the whole territory of the country lies within the Danube River basin. So that's the next level of cooperation for us in terms of water protection. And additionally, we are a member of the EU, and 5 out of 4 neighbor countries are also members of the EU, which means that there are common requirements and goals which we should achieve in terms of European water protection regulations. Thank you. Next slide, please. Let's start with Transboundary River Commissions. We have water agreements and river commissions with all our 7 neighboring countries. And so although they have different structures, the objectives and goals are all the same. You can see them listed. So originally they were meant for forego the damages caused by floods, and they were meant for improving hydrological forecasting, and data exchanges were introduced. But later on, partly also due to some major pollution events, water quality became a major issue, and in the last decades, due to climate change and prolonged periods of drought, water allocation is also an important issue. Next slide, please. In the Danube River Basin, we are parties to the Danube River Protection Convention, which has the objectives of achieving sustainable and equitable water management and conservation of surface and groundwaters, control of hazardous substances, and of course, reduction of pollution loads of Black Sea. In this regard, there is a secretary to the convention, which is coordinating all the water-related issues and tasks, especially the implementation of the Water Framework Directive. But within this cooperation, we all have, all members to the convention have the possibility to interact and to deal or to discuss, negotiate about problems regarding transboundary water issues. So partially the aim of this cooperation is to enable a common understanding of our water-related measures and how to address basin-level water problems and issues. Next slide, please. And now let's come to the reporting task. We had prepared 8 reports on the whole, 7 bilateral reports with our neighboring countries, and 1 report at Danube level. And the main steps were, so at the beginning, we organized internal discussions with the involvement of Transboundary Commission secretaries, the Hungarian secretary, to achieve a common understanding and common interpretation of the questions at Hungarian side, and to come to joint Hungarian position. So after that, we filled in the reporting tables, which were then sent within these bilateral water commissions to all our neighboring countries, and we tried to discuss all points where we had differences in the answers at back to other meetings or online. Also, we had some exchange with the HPDR Secretariat to have a harmonized report at Danube river level. And also, considering all the answers, we prepared streamlined reporting tables, which were then sent to the UN. To follow up the reporting, so those problems which were identified during this reporting lesson were partly addressed in this bilateral agreement as well. Next slide, please. And what were the lessons learned? As Alistair has already said, so it's not necessary to have the same content. So we tried to discuss and we tried to come to an understanding of the different viewpoints of our bilateral relation, but of course we didn't always come to a common answer, or we didn't necessarily gave the same answer to one question, but at least we tried not to be contradictory. We had the experience that all our neighboring countries were engaged, although of course the upstream countries were usually more engaged, but still we had a friendly and constructive environment. Yes, it should be said the guidance documents were also very helpful if we were not sure how to interpret one specific question. And on the whole, we think that this reporting lesson is a useful tool to identify gaps and to converge positions, because although we have all these bilateral and Danube level cooperation, there are still some points where we do not really deal with, either of historical or of other reasons, and this reporting task gives an opportunity to address these problems. Thank you. Next slide, please. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thanks so much for that presentation. I think that's really enlightening, and especially as you're sharing, you're sharing waters with so many other countries. Yeah, clearly the coordination is important, and I like that you say that the content doesn't have to be the same, but there are no significant differences, and certainly in terms of the basins that you share, whether or not arrangements are operational. I think that's the thing that we're really to focus in on. But I think that's an important message. So thanks, many thanks for sharing your experience.